It's Dev here, and today I will be showing you guys how to make your very own Stefan darts. Now, Stefan darts are actually shorter length darts, and they are used in Nerf blasters, more specifically high-powered Nerf blasters or modified Nerf blasters, just simply because they don't fishtail as much as full-length darts. Now, to get started, you need foam rods and of course tips. Right. I'm living in Singapore, so I get my rods and tips from Xplorer. In fact, I think Xplorer is currently the only one in the market that sells foam rod and tips. There used to be another company called PackD, but then they stopped production already. And from all of the companies that I know so far, none of them actually sells rods and darts, the tips separately anymore. Now, of course, you can buy pre-made ones from Artifact or from other manufacturers, and of course, you can make your own glue domes, etc., etc. But I will be using the Xtips and the Xplorer foam rods today, just to showcase. But you can basically use this method to use for any type of Stefan dart that you're making. Right, so let us get down to it. Now, you will need a table to work on, obviously. A separate surface from your table. For me, I just got myself a piece of scrap cardboard, okay? So you don't dirty up your table in the process. You need a foam dart cutter. Okay, I got mine from Zorko. You can get it from Gavin, Fuzzy, or Xplorer as well. They all work the same. They all work just fine. Now, you can do your dart cutting without the dart cutting fixture, but I highly recommend you getting a dart cutting fixture from any company of your choice. Or if you have a 3D printer and some basic skills at home, you can just 3D print your own dart printer. Why do I recommend a dart cutting fixture? Is simply because if you cut without a dart cutting fixture, the cuts usually won't be straight, and it's very difficult to get straight consistent cuts, which is why I recommend just a foam dart cutting fixture. Very basic one will do. So yeah, of course you'll need your foam rod and your tips. I'm not sure if I mentioned that already. Then this is optional. You can have forceps, okay, if you don't want to get your hands dirty, okay. It's optional whether you want to use it or not. And then you need a pen knife, okay, a pen knife with a big blade. You don't want a small blade because the small blade can be flimsy, and then it will affect the straightness of your cuts. And you want a big sharp pen knife, and then you want some tissue as well, so you can clean up any excess glue that is spilled over and whatnot. Okay, the tissues are sort of optional, but I like to keep my workplace clean, and my parents will probably kill me if I get glue all over the place, which is why I will recommend tissues. Okay, and you might want to get a small ice cube tray, somewhat like this. Okay, I actually got this from Daiso for like $2, and it just helps to hold my darts in place while the glue dries. Now, the most important thing you need to have is, of course, your glue, which joins your dart tips to your foam rod. Now, many people in the hobby actually use super glue or hot glue, contact cement, whatever. Okay, I personally do not recommend, and I do not like using those glues because the dart tips always come off, especially for super glue. Super glue is probably the most used adhesive when it comes to gluing dart tips to foam rods in the hobby. But I do not like super glue. The darts will break off almost all the time. The dart tips will break off almost all the time if I use super glue. Doesn't matter how well it's glued, it just happens when it gets shot out of a powerful blaster, especially like into the wall or something. And the glue I recommend is actually silicone glue, and for me, I'm using a silicone sealant, Sally's silicone sealant, which you can get from any convenience store in Singapore. I think you can get this pretty easily around the world as well. Now, another model by the name of Chris Kataya, you guys might have heard of him. Okay, he actually recommends go-to glue, but for Singapore, it is extremely hard to find go-to glue. In fact, I could not find any go-to glue. I've went to a lot of different hardware shops and DIY shops, whatnot, just could not find the thing in Singapore. I do not even think Singapore actually carries go-to glue. So my next best option was this, and after testing and using, yeah, it works extremely well. In fact, I've shot my dart tips point blank out of my long shot, which was running a 18 kg spring, I believe, or was it 19? Can't remember. Point blank into a wall many times. The dart tip stays intact. So yeah, very good silicone glue. Definitely get this huge tube which comes with this cap and of course this squeeze nozzle. Cost about $6 or $7, pretty cheap if you ask me, and this will probably make you like 1,000 darts before it run out or something like that. So yeah, that's all the stuff you need. Let us get down to the dart making. So first of all, I'm going to get a foam rod out. Now this is a full length foam rod. I got this from Xplorer, like I said before. This is their Yallow foam, okay, like what they like to call it. And Zorko's dart cutting fixture, it comes in a few variations. I just got the simplest one for Stefan length, cause I won't be using full length and other whatnot. So you just slide your foam dart in there. I'll push it forward a bit so you guys can see. Get your pen knife out, big sharp blade. Okay, you want to push it in all the way, make sure it's in all the way, fully seated. Cut like this. You don't want to chop like this simply because you might saw, or if your blade is not straight enough, then you won't get a straight cut, you'll get a jagged cut, which is not what you want. Okay, so what you want to do is cut across like this, and I'm gonna show you guys. Right, one swift motion, just cut, and there we go. Okay, the dart tip will fall out, and that is a pretty nice cut, if I don't say so myself. Right, now then afterwards I'm just gonna cut the rest of this as well. Okay, the second part can be a bit harder to cut because the thing will tend to fall off. Okay, make sure it's fully seated, and again cut, one swift motion, that's it. Right, so it's gonna fall out and you're done. You have two perfectly cut out dart heads. I mean dart tips or whatever. I don't know what you call them. This small piece you can just toss it away. Some people like to keep it for packaging foam, up to you. I don't have a use for that, so I just toss them away. Right, next you wanna grab your dart tips. For me, I have the Xtip V3s, and oh, before I forget, now you want to wash your tips very thoroughly before you glue them on, because any form of wax or grease on them will actually affect your glue, your bonding strength when it comes to sticking onto the dart rod. Right, how do you wash your tips? Now these Xtip V3s, they are known for having a lot of wax, and what I did for mine was I soaked them in hot soapy water about 7 to 8 times, and I change out the water like every 1 day. Okay, so what I do is empty out all of the dart tips into a heat treated container. Be sure to use a heat treated container. Then I went to the sink, and then I got hot water in there. Now how hot is the water? I can't tell you an exact temperature, but the water should be scalding to the touch. Basically what it means is you stick your hand in, you won't be able to hold your hand in the water for more than 1 second, or you'll just get too hot for you. Now my hands, they can withstand pretty high heat, I would say, so it might be different for everyone, but the water should be hot, not boiling but hot. Okay, so I added some soap inside. Now I think dish soap is recommended. I don't recommend like any like shower foam or whatnot. So yeah, I recommend dish soap. Okay, so you just you want to put your dish soap in before you add in the water. Afterwards, I just let it sit for about 24 hours or overnight. 8 hours plus will do. Pour out everything, and then change the water and the soap again, and then like just do this for like 7 or 8 times. Afterwards, you'll realize a white layer starts to form on the dart tip. I'm not sure if it's because I made the mistake of not using a heat treated container, or maybe it's because of the soap I use, or maybe it's just the wax on the dart tips. I'm gonna assume it's the wax from the dart tips. So there was a layer of white on the dart tips after all that soaking in soapy water. And what I did was I continued to soak them, this time in in clean water. Okay, so I just filled it up with, I rinsed all the duct tapes. Afterwards, I soaked them in hot water for like the next few days, changing out the water every day, and then basically the same hot water, but the white stuff does not come off. So what I actually did was I scraped them off. I dipped them in water, then I scraped them off one by one. Yes, I did this for every single duct tip that there was 100 duct tips in there, so I did that for every single duct tip. You can use a small sharp object or like your tweezer to like just scrape off the white stuff. You don't want to have any white stuff before you start gluing them to it. So yeah, all of these duct tips are like hand washed by me and took a long time basically. Then I scraped them off, gave them another rinse with hot water. Then yeah, here they are now, washed extremely cleanly and ready for gluing. Now onto the gluing process. You can choose to do this with your fingers, which I prefer, or if you're scared of a little bit of glue getting on your fingers, you can choose to use the tweezers. I'll do one with the tweezers and one without. So I got this this nozzle actually came with the silicone glue, so it's definitely more useful than like just squeezing out the bottle, because you can control how much is coming out. Now I'm just gonna squeeze a little bit around the edges. You don't need too much, but you should have enough to bond your duct tape to your rod pretty securely. Then what you want to do is just give it a nice small twist to spread out the glue evenly, and that should do it. If there's any excess, you can just grab a tissue and then wipe it off. Okay, silicone glue is not as potent as super glue. Okay, so it won't like bond to your fingers immediately. You can just wipe it off like those kind of normal glues. And another reason why I prefer using silicone glue, because it doesn't screw up your fingers as badly as super glue does. Right, afterwards, I just leave it in this ice cube tray for it to dry overnight. I recommend you to leave it to dry for 3 days before using it, but if you're in a hurry, 24 hours will do. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys how to do it with tweezers. Right, tweezers, just grab your duct tape with the tweezers. Then afterwards, you just apply your glue like how you did just now, right? Oh, okay, shit. Yeah, you need to grip the duct more tightly, and this is why I don't like using tweezers. I prefer using my own fingers, right? Then you just twist this in. Okay, so that should do it. Now you can see I took note not to use too much, so there isn't any excess for me to wipe off. Afterwards, just place them in here and let them dry overnight. So yeah, that's it, my short little guide on how to basically how to make foam darts. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video and have learned something. If you have, be sure to give me a thumbs up and do subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed already for more of such future content. Until the next time, this has been Dev04066. Peace out.